Thank you for giving me money because I deserve it, especially after last night spending like $70 on Ubers. Too expensive. I hated living in the city. I'm really not loving the titties. Should I just take the titties out? I feel like it's gonna look weird without the titties. Wish I could put the headphone. Can I put the headphones under here? Okay. Alright, me. I'm also not unmuting it because for whatever reason on the pre-show, they just like give them everything that they're gonna release at these shows and spoil it. So annoying. Also, let me change my band-aids so it matches. Guys, I spilled poppers all over myself last night. Poppers, nail glue, everything last night. It was not my night. Poppers, nail glue. I literally had a panic attack. I was like, did I accidentally do a shot of poppers? I don't think I did. And I think I would be dead right now if I did. So I think we're fine. Please give them money. No, I like literally need it after last night. $18 for a drink at the bar. I said, excuse me? Not the US military being the sponsor for this. Oh, wow. Poppers at the club. Oh yeah, baby, that's where the club is going up with the poppers. You're dancing to the music and you're like, oh yes, give me a hit of the poppers, baby, yes. It's lovely. They're fun. I know they're for like butt sex, but like they're just like a fun little party gag. I'll turn on the bot. So sorry. Oh, that's not the right thing. Living is expensive. Literally, it's terrible. Never tried it before. Baby, you need to. When you're in the club bumping with your girls, you need to hit some poppers and have a good fucking time. It's so fun. But I will say I did get people calling me the T word last night, which was not fun, but it's whatever. Oh, thank you for getting a sub too, McWigan. Thank you. Okay, let me put this nail set on. Because I can't do these shows without putting a nail set on. Oh my god, gifting all the subs. You're sexy, damn. You better. I know, it was so out of place too, because we were all just like dancing at the club and like the theme of the night. Do you know that one Megan Thee Stallion clip? So our entire friend group has been quoting that lately. You like girls? You like girls? So I kept going up to like random guys and saying that. And this like random guy was like, oh yeah, I don't like, and said it. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, okay, well, you're boring. And he said, okay, well, I don't like your makeup. And I was like, okay. And then he proceeded to keep calling me. And then like I was in the middle of the club dance floor and people were like, him and his little friend group were like blocking my way. You know when like people try to like steal your tips or like try to play with your tips? He was like doing that, but like with like not letting me out of the way. I was like, just drunk, annoying people. How is your hand recovering? This is where my crater on my fingy is because I spilled poppers on my fingy, and then from my fingy, I put it in my butt. Just kidding. I went to McDonald's with Onyx, Niall, Renee, and Max, and we were very drunk and very emotional, like crying the entire night. So while that was happening, I just decided to pick my scab while I was venting. And then after that, the McDonald's French fry salt went into my wound. So I cleaned it out, thankfully. This morning after last night, it probably soaked in the terrible feeling of everything, but yep, that's how last night went. I had a good time though. Like I had a great time up until I don't know why we decided to do this, but Zayn wanted to leave the club before Baby Tate went on. And I was like, okay. So we saw Cobra, and then, because I was staying at Zayn's place, I had to like follow Zayn so I could like get home. Because like, even when I got to Zayn's place, it was locked. And I was like, oh, fuck me in the ass. I was like so nervous I was gonna get locked out. So Zayn wanted to go dancing. And I was like, yeah, I'm down, whatever. But like, I wanted to stay with like our friend group. And we decided to, I guess, not stay with them. It was weird. So everything up to leaving Gay Bashed was lovely. And also like shout out to anybody in the TikTok comments or the YouTube comments or subscribers, followers, Twitter. Shout out to everybody that saw me in real life and was like, Nem, oh my god, I didn't even recognize you. So happy to see you. And I love your Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok content. You're killing it online. And I was like, thank you. Everybody kept bringing up my success online. And I was like, ugh, my heart. So seriously, shout out to anybody that said that to me because it really made me feel better. Because I felt kind of out of place. I was like, I'm never outside of the club. Did you sew this outfit? No, I did not. I sewed last night's outfit. Last night's outfit I made the night before. After we ended stream yesterday, I was like, I want to look like a slut tomorrow. So like I had the idea to like cut a t-shirt. Then I was like, wait, what if I do like a dress? Like what if I made like a sexy dress that like was like asymmetrical? And then I did it and I honestly loved it a lot, except for I wish I could lose some weight so I wouldn't have to wear an annoying corset. But okay, I have one nail set on, so that's like whatever, and this one has my boo-boo on it, so it's whatever.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute, yeah. So we need to see something.
For me, I am going to go to one of my favorite franchises that, again, we know is happening.
Can I just do a quick check of my face really quick before we go into this? I'm just going to turn down the brightness a little bit. Perfect.
Getting down to the wire here before we toss things over to Microsoft. Just a reminder, IGN Summer of Gaming is happening all through June, and we'll be doing this whole thing all over again for Xbox's Extended Showcase. The countdown is on. Let's do it.
I'm nervous. I saw one good thing, but I'm completely going into this. I have no idea what we're gonna see, you guys.
Oh, we're finally doing
Yeah, we are late.
Because I was going to make a sandwich.
This has already been live streamed. We're like 30 minutes late.
Let's do it. What do I think about heroes? Well, we've all seen them, haven't we? Swanning about the place with their disproportionately high cheekbones and comically massive weapons.
Wanker.
Roughing up bandits, because they like to rough up bandits, don't they? Living it up with the common folk every single night. On a day-to-day basis, I'd say the true hero is me, someone who's breaking new ground with fruit, with veg, on the agricultural side of things.
Just look at them.
Not wafting around mythical creatures. And that's what they are.
It looks like a
Wafters.
medieval game already.
You see, I'm not here to slay legendary beasts. I'm here to conquer the vegetable, not a euphemism. Let's face it, the age of heroes is over. This
What is
is the age
this?
of innovation. This, if you will, is the age of death. One moment.
Is this Gulliver's Travels?
This is awkward.
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
Oh my god! Oh wow! Okay! Good way to start the show. That looks good. Is that any relation to the Fable games already existing? Yeah, the Fable games are really popular. I did not expect that at all. Oh, this is really loud. We didn't want to audio mix our... We didn't want to audio mix. It does look like a reboot. I'm excited. That's cool. Already outsold Devolver and everything else. To be honest, the Fable reveal has already been one of the better things of the entire weekend. Oh, he's got a ring on just like me. I like feel something on my lip, but I like can't establish what it is. I'm like, hello, we have a visitor. I've never played the Fable games, but they're really popular.
Shaking bones.
Oh, she's pretty.
Been a while. So, you remember that favor you owe me?
I love that hairstyle on
I'm looking for a
women.
creature.
So pretty.
Huge, sneaky.
Not when Ronda Rousey does it though.
Teeth like knives.
Oh! Oh!
No.
Hey, Stinky!
Oh, hello,
Alright,
it's
how
Music
about
and
you
Ava.
guys?
Are you coordinating your entrances?
No. Nobody?
Oh, he smiles.
Sneaky.
This looks fun. See, these are unique concepts. South of Midnight. I'm with it. That looks fun. I don't know. We didn't see any gameplay, but like that looked cute. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are we feeling, chat? Play it day one with Game Pass. Work. I love when they do that.
World premiere.
This is a pretty good show so far. I mean, we're only 2 games in, but like, damn.
These are dangerous times.
Oh, not
At
massive.
least that's what I hear.
Oh. And I, oh!
Empire?
Space! You
They're
guys!
everywhere.
We got space! Wow! Oh, it's Star Wars. Oh,
But the world here
good for Star Wars fans, I guess.
belongs to the
Big win for annoying people everywhere. Sorry.
If I want to survive, I have to play their game.
Oh, cute little baby!
Looks like I'm all in.
She's in here somewhere.
I only know the Star Wars lore because when we played Lego Star Wars. That's literally how I know every single plot in Star Wars. Oh, you want to know what I feel on my lip? It's my hairy upper lip from the facial hair I'm growing after I just shaved 30 minutes ago.
I've been held back my whole life. And now
I would play this game just for this cute little baby companion.
wherever that takes me.
I'm here to offer you a way out, okay?
Get off my ship, Jalen. Give me a chance. You're gonna have to trust me. It'll be dangerous, risky. But if you pull this off, you'll never look over your shoulder again.
Yes! It does look like an axolotl. I love axolotls. I wanted to adopt one so bad. But they take a lot of care. A lot of TLC. Okay. My nail set is on. I can sit down and enjoy the show. Great show so far.
And I'm gonna risk it all.
Ignore my band-aid, please. At least it's red, it matches. That's what I get for having poppers at the club. Not 2024. Girl, be serious.
Wow. Fable, South of Midnight, Star
Women!
Wars Outlaws.
Women!
Welcome to our first ever double feature. The Xbox Game Showcase, followed by a deep dive into one of the most important RPGs ever made, Starfield. Gaming is the most powerful of all entertainment. It transports, it challenges,
I don't like that
it
skirt length
connects
though.
us,
That skirt
and it's
length is
just
a little
incredibly
weird.
and awesomely
I'm not a
fun.
fan, but...
That is why Team
And the
Xbox
jean
is
jacket,
committed
not
to
me
building the
reading her
greatest
as soon
place
as she
to
gets
play.
on.
By partnering
I'm like,
with the
yes,
most
the first
ambitious
woman
of game
presenting, and I'm like
creators,
dragging
and by
for Phil.
unleashing the power of the gaming community, enabling all of us to play the games we want with our friends anywhere, from mobile devices to PCs to consoles. The lineup we have for you
Mrs.
today
Kasha
is
Davis
just
coming out in what the fuck?
incredible. These are the works of the very greatest creative teams from around the world. We made this show for you, the largest, most engaged, and globally diverse fan base in Xbox history. You are the heart and soul of Xbox. Your passion drives us, and you are the inspiration for the visionaries whose games
This
we
inspirational
showcase today.
message.
From me and all of the team at Xbox, thank you. This next game is from Thunder Lotus, the award-winning studio behind Spiritfarer, who've gone back to their combat
Xbox
roots
does
with an
treat
amazing co-op
LGBT
race-focused
creators
action
right,
game
though.
that
They
is
do.
uniquely theirs.
I don't think PlayStation could say the same.
All right, everybody, it's time.
Xbox treats and books Stream Queens girls. They book and promote like LGBT artists. PlayStation doesn't. Oh. Nintendo crickets. Xbox is pretty LGBT friendly. With my new Xbox One X, I can be a consumer and a enthusiast. This is completely unrelated, but last night I was tucked for maybe 7 hours, and last night my fucking taint hurt so bad, I had to get out of the car and take out my penis. I was corseted, tucked. I was and wearing heels. It was so painful, you guys. But I looked pussy. Oh. $33 player co-op. Damn, is it that serious? Thank you for the clip, Manacles. 33, because that's their angel numbers. Oh, not payday. Oh.
Just in and out. Nothing to it.
Flashback to a couple weeks ago, and I was like, is this payday? And now it's payday. Oh, today is payday? Just kidding, I haven't been paid for work I did all the way back in February yet, so today is not payday. It's no tea. This reminds me a little bit of Roblox. This looks like Roblox. Honestly, if you really think about it, our entire lives are kind of like Roblox. Like, if you really think about it in depth, life is just Roblox. And you go into the different servers of life. And you play the different game modes and experience different things. And that is life, and that is Roblox. Have you ever thought of that? Okay, Payday 3 work. Okay, this is how I'm not a fan of a lot of these games, but this has to be the best show so far. They've had 4 great reveals: a Star Wars game, 2 new games, and Payday 3. Oh, they're taking it. Oh, and there's a Yakuza game later. Spoiler. Oh, but when I opened the stream, it was that. Oh, and Atlas is about to get Persona 3 remake. When we saw this, I saw this the other day on the TL. I got spoiled. Oh, this is it. Oh, they're taking it. Oh, they're taking it. Oh, they're taking it. Oh, they're taking it. Yes! How exciting. Turn this shit up. Yeah, this is the best show so far. And I'm gonna be honest, might be one of the best shows we've seen in the last year. And we thought this was gonna flop. To our surprise. Damn. We got gagged, you guys. That's 5 titles that are pretty stan-worthy. You like that applause? You like it to tickle your little... You like when it goes...
People don't like you very much.
Okay, well, I don't like you either because you're speaking very loud, sir. My god, the audio mixing is atrocious. One game is like at 100 and then the next one is at 12. I heard him say come in himself. Girl.
To investigate some plague.
Oh, yeah. The best, like, if we did a tier list, the one with Bayonetta and Kirby is definitely the best show we've seen over history. But this one's probably one of the better ones we've seen in a long time.
But the truth is,
no medieval or space games, and the only space games was Star Wars. And I mean, if you're gonna do a space game, that's the one to do it. So, like... I'm sorry, I'm hungover, you guys. I'm hungover.
The secrets you keep, you're either here to save us or destroy us.
This looks like a good game too, I'm not mad!
What are you gonna do with it?
Them's burps are Olympic worthy. Get you a girl that burps like she's at the Olympics for burping. Oh. Oh, I'm a fan. Scurvy! We got scurvy! Scurvy! We got scurvy. Scurvy. We got scurvy. Oh, wow.
Welcome to the
Oh, fun.
most notorious tavern on
Oh, this presentation is taking it, girl. Oh, wow. I'm glad I got some friends that work at Xbox. Hey, girls.
Luxury ship, a ship with just a splash of je ne sais quoi.
The legend of Monkey Island. You mean Governor Guybrush. But
Gotta be honest, there hasn't been a dud so far. The duddiest dud was Star Wars, girl. This is craziness. Wow, I'm gagged. I'm gagged.
I guess it's not every day.
Sorry, just like watching my hair move. Is it human? Sorry, I kept saying that last night. I was like, guys, did you know this unit is human? Human?
Island into a prison for Guybrush.
Well, well. What do we have here?
You like girls?
You need these.
Things may be very different from the sea of thieves, you know.
Was that a wig? Your mom's a wig. Gagged. Oh! I have to do that because my hand is actually burning up with this little thingy I got on my thingy. Ah! Ouch! Oh, hot! Oh, hot, hot, hot! So, Flight Simulator, there's a clear and obvious joke we can make here, but we're not gonna make it. Because that's inappropriate and wrong. Oh, is that it? Okay, the other day when Jeff said it, I was gagged. You can't even deny. I was like, oh, I guess it's a car model. Okay, I want to see more of the other games, not this 5-hour trailer for Flight Simulator. Like the other ones I would have loved to see more of. What the? Did you see the plane wing? Can I make my plane like pussy pink and like put a nice bow on it, maybe a unit? Can I put a wig on her, a 613 unit, and maybe a 301 lash on the plane deck? No, literally, like that's what I would want to do in Plane Simulator. I would just want to like crash into shit. I'd be like, oh. I've been a Vixen. Everybody, thank you so much for coming. I know this is a late stream, but I really appreciate y'all coming and watching with me. I can't believe I was in drag 5 hours ago. I got out of drag, commuted home, and I'm here. So, thank you all for coming. I appreciate you. And anybody, if I saw you last night, hi, love you so much. Gay Bash Boston was lovely. My Uber driver, when I was like in pain because my tuck and my corset were on, he like turned around while he was driving and went, "Are you okay?" And I went, no. And he was like, what's wrong? I was like, my dick hurts. And he went, oh,
Hi,
you danced all night and that happened?
Stage at Ninja Theory,
And he went,
where we have
I have
just wrapped our
ibuprofen.
shoots for
I went,
Senua Saga
you think
Hellblade 2.
ibuprofen's gonna
When we
help
first
my
showed
dick
gameplay
in
for
my
Hellblade
ass
2,
cheeks
it was a
bundled
look at
up
some of
under
the
3
game's
pairs of
cinematic and
pantyhose?
immersive action, where Senua
I just need to
faced
get
off
to my
against a
spot. Can you
gigantic
drive the
troll on
fucking
Icelandic
car?
coastline.
Oh, is this Senua's Sacrifice?
Today, we're taking you deeper into Senua's story, her personal quest, her unique perspective on the world.
Oh, this
and the intimate
presentation
journey
is
that awaits you in
taking
Senua's
it.
Saga.
Try to watch this
What
video
you'll see
without saying,
today
oh,
is
she's
all
taking
captured by
it.
the team on
This is
Xbox
7
Series X.
big titles. Holy shit. Wow. I've never played Senua's Sacrifice. If you guys wanted me to play the first one, I would love to play the first one. I've never played it. But I know it's a good game.
She can feel them slipping through her soul, following the threads of her mind.
Girl, if Laura comes up, we're done. Like, it's a wrap. Like, this will be the best presentation ever.
She needs their help with a promise.
It's because she... What is the word for Senua? She has the whispering is in her head. Like, that's the gimmick of the entire game. Schizophrenia, yes. And, like, it's supposed to simulate it in your ears. So, like, the whispering is supposed to make you scared. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I tried playing it. I was so, like, scared. It's a great form of inclusion and, like, diversity and showing it out. Because they do a great job in telling it. But it was, like so... Because it actually, like, immerses you. It's crazy. Because the way they do the audio mixing, it, like, makes you feel like, oh my god, like behind me.
They can see us. What is going to happen?
Yeah, it's very ASMR.
How can we make it happen? It's time to find.
Imagine the microphones they probably bought for this because they really needed like high quality microphones.
What are you waiting?
That's really great. They need to do that more when they do stuff like that. Like, perhaps if they do a trans character in Total Drama, maybe the new seasons that come out. Hi, Terry. Fuck, my tongue pop didn't work.
Where are you?
No! Oh my god. Fudge. I'm never gonna swear because I want to be on a cartoon.
Everywhere can feel them boring into her. What is she supposed to do? Do something. Ask them.
What do you want me to do?
Oh, Barnacle is... What the Barnacle? What the Barnacle? No, the new Total Drama seasons are great. I love that Terry included like a very queer relationship and like made it so... Like if I saw that up as a kid, I'd be like, oh my god, that makes me feel so safe. They do a really good job.
They are waiting. It's you. What will they do to her? What will we do to us? Touch it.
I love Adriana. She tags me because like... Okay, can I tell y'all another story about last night? I know there's like something serious happening. They tried to charge us for a circuit party last night, $60 for entry. So someone paid us to get in, but me and Adriana like kept looking at each other like,
Let me to this place.
and then we got inside and it was like all like these horrible, rotted, mean gay people that were just like not very trans friendly.
I am here.
And
Now.
Adriana just tagged me in something and she goes, yeah girl, those places aren't for us. And it's the Adore Delano meme. I don't belong here. That is fully how I felt last night. I had to leave and smoke a cigarette outside because I was so upset. I was like, get me out.
Who are these around you, Senua? Those you have saved, or those you led to death?
Very good. That looks amazing. That's gonna be a great game. Day one with pass. Wow. Oh, and I just got Xbox Game Pass for a year from, thank you to friend of the pod, Hey Chato. Everybody go follow Chato. Oh, this is the Yakuza trailer I saw. Another Yakuza title. This is almost 10 big names in gaming! What a great show today, you guys. Also, I would suck the life out of this man. Oh! 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 Whoa! Meow! 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 No, show it! Show it! Show it! Come on! Come on! Come on! Wow! Oh! 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 It's hot! That's me right there. That's blonde and gorgeous, big titties, that's me, Boots. Why did you delete that message?
Oh my god! A stranger!
Oh. Oh.
What's up, dude? Yeah, dude. Hey,
Oh, I love it here. Oh, I love it. He has such a good ass, too. Oh.
Huh? Huh?
He was so hot in the first one. Is that another, like they're doing another game? Oh, wow. Wow. Period. Wow. We have so many titles, you guys. This is crazy.
Appalachia. What a sight! A verdant wonderland of promise plucked from post-atomic blight. The fruit of years of prudent progress and determined reclamation, and 15 million dwellers worth of keen imagination. From the heart of West Virginia.
I'll never like these games. I'm so sorry.
No matter if you roam alone or spend your time with friends, you'll find a home in Appalachia where the good times never end. There are relics to uncover from a time before the war, along with loads of friendly folks to meet and enemies galore. Our world is always changing. Greater foes are overthrown as we embark on expeditions into thrilling new unknowns. Yes, from Appalachian settlements to Nuka World on tour. You're never short on things to do or places to explore. Think you've seen it all, eh? Well, how about this? Pack your bags for an escape of Epicurean bliss. Put your rad shield on and fix your hair up pretty.
Wow, that's so embarrassing. My live didn't post on social media. Ooh.
So there you have it. Now you know. There's a million ways to make the wasteland your waste home. And when you hear adventure calling, when you're looking for some kicks, answer the call of Vault. Answer the call of Vault. Answer the call.
I would get a PS5 because you can play all the Xbox games on PC with Xbox Game Pass.
Xbox Game Pass.
So, was that supposed to be like revolutionary? I don't understand. Isn't that old?
World premiere.
There are so many world premieres. I'm literally gonna poop. I'm gonna poop. This is a great show. I'm glad I look so hot for this show. Oh! Hi, Capcom. Oh my god, the Gloom hands. Is this Evil Dead? Definitely not Evil Dead. Oh, okay. That was pretty. Oh, is this, wait, this is Monster Hunter. Wait, no, this isn't. What is this? This looks cool. Why is the quality so bad? I guess like too much movement on the screen. Thank you for the clip, Ava. Oh, I love the art style of this. It's very like trippy horror. It's so cool. I love it. Like psychedelic. Yeah, right? That's weird. I guess because they're like kind of showing off some stuff today to show tomorrow as well. They said watch. There was another one that was like watch tomorrow's Ubisoft showcase. Path of the Goddess. Work. Is that 11 now? We're at 11 good games. I don't think there's been a miss so far except for Plane Simulator. And even then, I don't even think it's that terrible. Wow. Or maybe they just want to have more space tomorrow to not even show that.
Commitment to performance is embodied.
They want to use the 35 for some other stuff.
Brands, Chevrolet and Cadillac.
Necro, thank you for 37 months. How you doing?
V-Series.R elevates Cadillac's competitive spirit to a whole new level with its thunderous V8 and hybrid power. The legendary Corvette has been a celebrated champion for decades. The all-new Chevrolet Corvette E-Ray continues that tradition.
You guys like cars? You like girls?
To usher in a new era of competition.
Doing good, how are you? I'm a little hungover, but it's no tea. I would really like Dunkin' Donuts, but I don't think that's in the cards because like there's so much traffic here because it's like 70 degrees today, so a lot of people are going to the beach.
Their strengths and technical excellence and sophisticated modern design to take bold steps into the future and bring that experience to gamers.
Gamers! Oh, that hurt my throat after yelling for Onyx last night. My throat is dead, girl.
To the home of competition.
I know you're ready. You've got this.
Oh my god, I need to. I have like maybe 5 or 6 days until I go to Australia, so I'm like, I might as well just not buy groceries. Like, why would I do that? Plane Simulator and Forza are the flops, but still, like, damn. Great show. I'm gonna say something controversial. I don't like muffins. I don't.
That was your best lap yet.
This is my timeline.
No, I like the muffin top, but like, I usually get like sick when I eat a muffin. It doesn't sit well in my tummy. Yeah, I love a bagel. I could fuck up a bagel any time of the day. Any type of bagel. Ooh. It's a mini cake. I don't agree with that statement. I don't.
I have seen all that ever was, and all that ever will be. I have seen betrayal, endurance.
Oh, you're a donut. Girl. I do love an everything bagel. I do. Bethesda will showcase everything but Skyrim.
For perhaps the first time in my unending existence.
When do you think we will get the new Skyrim?
Disconnected from
2027?
Forces move against me, hungry for forbidden knowledge. A mystery long kept hidden. A secret that threatens to unravel reality.
Sorry, I'm groping my tits. Is this Skyrim playable on a bagel? I'll play Skyrim if I have a bagel. How about that? Not this Skyrim dupe. Skyrim dupe? I mean, it's by Bethesda, so they're like, we're gonna give you this new game, except for we're just... Wait, is this Elder Scrolls Online? I think this is Elder Scrolls Online.
Save Tamriel.
Yeah. That game, like, on the Skyrim Online is actually really good and really immersive. I'm not a big fan, but I know a lot of people that play it. It's, like, really good. It's a really good online game. Competes with Final Fantasy XIV. Does a really good job.
37. Toronto is under attack by Null Sector.
There's something different about Null Sector this time.
They've taken over most of the city and they're rounding up Omnics. They need our help.
Girl, shut the fuck up! Get out of my face! Get out of my face!
And we have so much to teach them.
This August, more like, we're gonna lie to your face again. No, you're a liar. You're a liar, and you're a snake, and that's why Derek don't like you.
Maybe we can save the city.
Girl, please. I'm not believing their shit.
Been a while, Vivian.
Shut up, bitch. Vivian Panay. I can't. This isn't happening. This isn't real. This is bait. This link isn't real. I'm so serious.
I hate to interrupt the moment, but I'm picking up reports of more attacks in other cities.
It's a fight they want.
So was it a bait? So is this actually happening, or was the PvE a lie? Did they just bait us, or like?
Engage. Target mark.
Oh. Oh. Okay, so they used the B-roll footage from when they were gonna make a story mode, and then decided to put it over the content they're putting out. They're a bunch of fraud, bald, ugly fucks. It's not PvE. It's them putting over this. We're not getting that right there. We're not getting. They're putting the B-roll from 2017 over their new footage of what we're actually gonna get. Nope. No. 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 You are a bunch of
Let's go.
Shall we do this together?
What is happening right now?
Engaging.
Watch this. I saw that. Not bad.
You guys are you are so money hungry. I have never seen a disgusting company more than Blizzard. I really can't. I'm so sorry.
What is this place? It looks like
Oh!
What's going on? Who are these people?
How cute!
They're attacking us. Our only choice is fighting back. Hey, look over there.
Oh.
Can you get us out of here?
Persona. Oh my god, it's like a strategy Persona game! Oh my god! Fire Emblem Persona! Sorry, my Toad voice kicked in. Excuse me.
Never forget that we're a united force.
I am up. This looks amazing. I want to play this now.
But you're just mannerless little brats.
Oh. Oh my god, I'm obsessed, girl.
Returning will be no easy feat.
Wow, I'm up.
Deep inside, I know you realize things can't
I'm up.
like this. So, will you take a stand beside us? Yeah, let's show them what we got.
Oh my god, it's coming out this year. Girl, we're streaming that. I can't. That's so cool. That is so exciting. Wow. I'm gonna say it. I think this might be the best presentation we've ever seen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think this is the best one.
Humanity has always hunted for knowledge in the unknown.
There like really hasn't been any duds, and it actually makes me excited to do these after the year and a half we've had of flops.
Not that the field of
So this is really
so
exciting.
vast.
I'm very grateful. Thank you, Xbox. We love you. Didn't think I would say those words, but we're here. I think this is Starfield. My friend is working on this game, so I can't be too much of a hater, but I'm not a stan, but it looks nice for people that like that.
We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there?
Best showcase of all time. I'm so sorry. I'm so serious.
You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family.
We do not fully understand all that is at work here.
No finer group in the stars to be unraveling.
I don't think this is Starfield. What is this?
I'll follow you from here on out.
There's the PC game show after this one, which we're late for, but we'll watch it together.
These artifacts could be everything we've been looking for. Another great secret the universe is asking us to unravel.
Human settlements throughout the galaxy could be at risk.
Oh!
We are not stopping. Whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever. This is where we belong.
That was Starfield? I thought Starfield was like this booger ass game. That looks good. I might have to actually play that. Message my good friend. Cause damn, wow. That actually looked pretty entertaining. And I was like, girl, Starfield is gonna be stupid, but like, wow. Okay. I'm glad I have Xbox Game Pass now, damn.
World premiere.
I added a bunch of new emotes a couple days ago. There's the Trisha Paytas waking up one as well. And I added the monsters in the boobs emote from forever ago, but blonde. From way back in the day. This is colorful. I like it. Oh, baby. This might sound weird, but have we ever seen a rock climbing kind of video game? Because this could be really fierce. I've never seen anything like this. Like, I want like kind of like traditional like simulator of me rock climbing, like with mechanics. I think that could be like really fun. This looks cute. No, like, look at this. Like, you, like, actually, like, climb rocks. Like, reality climbing rocks and stuff. Not, like, Genshin or Breath of the Wild that you just, like, climb up a random wall. No, this is really cute. Stop. I'm, like, really into this. Stop. I want to play this. Look how colorful and gorgeous the scenes look. Guys. 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 This has to be the best showcase we've ever seen. I'm so serious. Congratulations, Xbox. This is one of the best directs I've ever seen. If not the best. Wow. I want to play that. I want to play that right now. That was a good one. You see that one? You heard that one?
World.
Oh my god, there's more. Jesus Christ, you guys. What is I don't even know what to expect anymore. Are we gonna get a new Banjo-Kazooie at this rate? Like, oh my god. What's gonna be the closer? What's gonna be the gag? Like, this whole show has been like gag after gag. I'm like, how are you gonna gag us? And yes, I know we're late, so please don't spoil. Shut up! Love you can't mean, but shush. But she's singing. Not the Subnautica horror game. Girl, I'm so happy to get Game Pass. I'm so happy I have Game Pass now. Jeez. Guys! Guys! This game show is so good! I feel rejuvenated. I don't feel hungover. My skin is clear. Guys! This game show is so good. This looks so cute. Oh my. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh just wow. Just absolutely wow. Wowie zowie. A design flaw I see? The bob. Not a big fan of the bob. The red. Wait, that's Lois Griffin! That's Lois Griffin, the adventurer! She has Lois Griffin colors. Red hair and the blouse. That was Lois Griffin, the adventure simulator.
Hi. I'm very excited
Hi, Daddy.
to be returning as Johnny Silverhand in the upcoming expansion for Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. This new adventure reunites Johnny and V on a dangerous spy mission and introduces Idris Elba
Hi, John.
as secret agent Solomon Reed. It's really amazing to share the screen with you, Idris. It's cool to be a part of this game with you, man. As a player,
he's 58.
You'll get to visit Dogtown, an unexplored
I love a
part of
silver
Night
fox.
City,
I'm so sorry.
and
I'll be that
rescue the
girl. I
president
love a
of the
silver
new
fox.
United States
A
of
man
America.
that is older and takes care of
Expect a
himself.
massive expansion,
So
twists,
fucking sexy to me.
and plenty of stuff to do. I know the team at CD Projekt Red just keeps raising the bar when it comes to telling cinematic stories in video games. And I really can't wait for you to play it on Xbox Series
No, this is
X
real, girl.
and S.
This isn't CGI.
But enough talking. I'm guessing you want to see for yourself. And so it is my honor and pleasure to give you and introduce the official trailer for Phantom Liberty. Check it out.
Guys, how do we even recap this show with almost 20 blockbuster titles?
There's gotta be a way out of it.
This is crazy.
Johnny, I'm dying.
Oh.
There's nothing can stop
Me
that.
literally last night. I'm dying.
V. My name is Songbird. I'm an NUS intelligence analyst. I know about the bomb ticking in your head. And I can save your life.
What's the catch?
I need you to get to Dogtown.
Attention all Dogtown residents. President managed
Dog.
to crash her state's
The
first
dog.
one
The
into
dog
our
town.
district.
Man's got 1,001 reasons to want Myers as a hostage.
Oh, he's sexy.
Sleeper agents. Time to wake them up. So NUSA's tossing us back into the fray, huh?
I loved when I played Cyberpunk, but it just kind of got a little repetitive for me, so maybe we'll revisit it with the Harley Quinn mod when this comes out. They fixed it, yeah. It runs fine. You can mod it too, which is really fun. You can do a lot of mods in it.
Wait, hear that? God almighty, it's moving! Run!
Yeah, I didn't mind it when we played it. It just kind of got repetitive for me to play on the live, so.
Ratted us out.
You know, V, treason ain't ever.
But I didn't hate it.
It's a charade, V.
Wherever she goes, people get hurt.
I like the girl, her name's I think Misty with the, she's like the goth girl.
The situation's changed. I need to know if you're with me.
Illusion of freedom draws in the desperate. Pick your truth, V.
Come on, got iron in your
Oh
head.
yeah, I do want to watch the anime. I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's really good. Well, I do have a 23-hour flight coming up, so I guess I can watch a couple things on my flight. Yep, that's Idris Elba. Oh, it's coming out in September. Work. That's exciting. Why did it just flash 2024 to 2023? Excuse me. Watch your mouth. Okay, the audio mixing, girl, this one's real loud for your race car game. What are we, the playmat in kindergarten? Be serious. What's the anime on? I think it's a Netflix original. I don't have Netflix, so I only have Hulu. There's so many things I want to watch on Netflix, but then I think about it, I'm like, is it really worth it for Netflix? Because, like, fuck them. I need to stretch. Oh. After last night, I should not be sitting down for this long. We'll do stretches before the next show. Everybody should get up and stretch with me when we do stretches. Oh, excuse me. Girl, Fable looks so good. Guys, please no spoilers of the games that are upcoming in the show, though, because we're behind. Not the SpongeBob AI stream. Okay, seriously, everybody, this is a PSA. Add me to your close friends or your Twitter circles if you post dick pics or ass pics, because I want to fucking see it and I can interact with it and tell you look hot without feeling the shame that the companies on the TL are gonna see me thirst trapping over penises and asses. I want Twitter to be that. I just want dick ass bulls. Bulls. But I use Twitter for work, so it's like hard to be like, oh yeah, what has happened? What is this? Oh wow. What is this? What is this? Shut up, is this a new Persona game? I have chills. I have chills. I have chills. It has to be Shibigami Tensei or Persona. Oh my god. Oh my god, you guys. I'm about to start tearing up. Oh my god. I have chills. I have chills. That was so crazy. Wow. 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 You have more after that? Oh my god, girl. This is the best show we've ever seen over history, bitch. I can't. Wow. I'm literally so
Humanity's
gagged.
cities have fallen. Our people's only means of survival is to seek sanctuary here. In
PlayStation found dead in a fucking ditch.
You must explore this world.
This looks
Find
cute
the
as
origins of
fuck!
this evil.
Anything Slay I missed? A lot, Safety. Every single game has been a hit. There's been like 20 blockbuster titles in this one show. This has to be the best show we've seen over history. Mic drop, bitch. Damn. The last 4 years of me doing this has to be the best show. Yeah, this better light up Nintendo, PlayStation, every company. Get into this.
Together, you can save humanity.
Yeah, guys, I just said please don't talk about what they announce, but that was in the presentation. But
world premiere.
it's Robots the movie with Jennifer Coolidge as Aunt Fanny. Could you imagine?
This city is a miracle of progress. A finely tuned, delicately balanced machine.
This looks awesome.
But it only takes one rebellious little gear to ruin everything. If you resist my rule, if you alter our past, if you threaten what I have built,
It is? You guys think it's a new Bioshock?
in space or time where I will not destroy you.
How do you know? Well, I can't say for certain because I'm not a Bioshock stan, so I'm like, how do you guys know? But like, fans will probably. Oh shit! Oh my god, the daddies! I know that, trust. I know when to call somebody daddy. And it's half the enemies in the Bioshock games. Oh, it is not a Bioshock. Y'all got so gagged. Still looks good. Not terrible.
Thank you all for joining us. Today is a special day for me and the team. I'm excited to see 11 games showcased from our first-party studios. We opened with Fable from Playground Games, which will
seriously,
bring the
round of
franchise into
applause.
the modern
This is
era
like one
while
of the
staying
best.
True to its British style and
Like,
humor.
wow.
Compulsion
Y'all
and
ate
In
that.
Exile
Y'all
shared
ate
their
that.
first original experiences since joining Xbox with South of Midnight and Clockwork Revolution. And we are thrilled at how Avowed is shaping up for release next year from the RPG masters at Obsidian. In addition to Avowed, our studios will deliver Hellblade 2, an all-new Microsoft Flight Simulator, Towerborn, and more in 2024. Later this month, players can look forward to Elder Scrolls Online Necrom and Sea of Thieves Monkey Island. As we look to holiday, we will launch Starfield and Forza Motorsport, both built for Xbox Series X, S, and PC. We are also honored to share 14 games today from our creative partners, like Star Wars Outlaws from Ubisoft Massive in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys, after the last 2 days of the worst game shows we've ever seen, this has breathed new life into me. Like, I feel great. I know we're not gonna get something like to this caliber often, but like, I needed this for my mental stability.
On Metaphor Refantazio. It's great to be able to premiere
Metaphor Fantazio's gotta be game of the fucking year, bitch!
We are focused on putting our players and game creators first in everything we do. No matter if you choose to play on Xbox, PC, or over the cloud, all gamers are welcome here at Xbox. When it comes to our consoles, we have heard your feedback.
They do treat the LGBT creators right.
First,
they got my good twin sister booked for Pride Month, Marisol Lords. We love you, Xbox.
Making it easier for fans to find globally. Second, we know you've wanted more storage with Xbox Series S, and I'm excited to share we have some news there as well.
We dancing. I just want to move my arms. My arms really hurt. Wow. Oh, that's not... Wait. Is that for the system or for the storage? What is that?
And now for the one more thing you've all been waiting for.
Oh.
Prepare for the most comprehensive deep dive we've ever done for the biggest game we've ever built. So sit tight and enjoy Starfield Direct.
No, it's okay. It's no tea. Is there anything after this?
Throw landmines at him.
No, it's no tea. It's no tea. Eva Marie Boots.
I'm very disappointed that there for a better.
I mean, think about.
If they would have done
Fable 3,
Banjo-Kazooie, it would have been literally the best show we've ever seen. But like, it still was the best show we've ever seen. Okay, transition. Oh my god, what do you know about a transition? I know about a transition, baby. Okay, we're a little behind on the... Oh, wait, what? Oh, the PC game show hasn't started. Oh my god! We're perfect time. We still have an hour until the PC game show. Oh, that's right, because it was at 1 o'clock and then 4 o'clock. Okay, work. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, this is seriously... I'm gonna look you dead in the face and it's gonna be really uncomfortable because my makeup is probably lopsided. But if you ever were to watch one of my game shows of me hosting a game show and reacting to the live reactions, this show, the Xbox Showcase on June 11th, 2023, has to be the best one you've ever seen for gaming news. You need to watch it. Available on YouTube to rewatch. It is the best game show we have ever seen on the channel. Mic drop. Seriously, the 25 games, almost all of them no flops, and the flops were SimCity